Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 2 of the anime series Shingeki no Bahamut Genesis. This was a hilarious and intriguing episode, to say the least, as we're pretty much picking up right where we left off. We have Farmer waking up out of this sort of Bahamut dragon-centric nightmare and finding out that he now has a tail attached to his backside. You know, he's freaking out about it. He tries cutting it off and everything. Nothing works. And he's got the housemaiden of the place he's staying out, freaked out. She's going out into the streets seeking help. Who does she find but, of course, Kaiser, who's already after him and everything like that. And we have this demon girl. We finally find out in this episode her name is Amira, and she ties back to the gods. She has stolen something called the God Key, and we're not quite sure what that is yet. And she basically tells him, you know, no holds barred, I've cast a spell on you. We have now a contract between us. Until such a time as you tell me the location of or take me to Helheim, you're stuck this way. So his first objective is to get out of Dodge. He doesn't need to deal with Kaiser right now. And of course, Kaiser gets it into his mind as they're making their escape that he must be, in actuality, a demon incarnate in human form. All this stuff. So his second objective he has in mind is to get some money, utilizing her great powers that she has such displayed, and they basically track down this bounty of a giant ram-headed demon or whatever it is, and basically with ease, using her powers, she turns this thing into green jelly, no problem. So they go and they claim their rupees from this so-called god incarnate, who has a sidekick duck, you know, essentially, who she's very looking hungrily at and everything like that. So he figures, okay, let's get her a new outfit, and that whole scene was comical as hell. You know, she's trying on all these different outfits, and he's like not impressed, and then finally with the one she lands last, he's happy with it and everything. But they go whining and dining, and this is where the third objective, you know, sort of crops up in Favreau's mind. Well, forget this deal. What I've got to do is I've got to kill this broad. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck with her, and I'm going to be stuck with this tale. If I take her life, then I won't have to deal with it anymore. Never mind holding to the deal that is now struck between them. So he gets her drunk effectively because she's never had alcohol before, and she ends up consuming it like mad. They have a dance on the dance floor and everything. Would be rather sweet if he wasn't so murderous against her. Gets her alone later on. They're by a lakeside, and she jumps in the water. The starry sky above is beautiful and gorgeous, and where he's basically about to kill her, he realizes his bounty hunter armband or whatever isn't working correctly, and this is where we actually get a lot of the revelatory information about Amira. She not only gives us her name, but she tells us that she's seeking her mother. She wears a jewel around her neck that there's supposedly a duplicate of that belongs to her mother, and when she finds her mother, they will be rejoined and all this stuff. Is this the God Key itself? Is this just a story? Who knows exactly? But of course, it's absolutely hilarious when you got Kaiser sneaking up, you know, sort of under the water on them and everything, and once Amira gets in the way, we see that Kaiser's very much infatuated with her now. He blushes, he becomes flushed, he doesn't know what he's doing, and then we have Favreau, you know, jumping over the back of Amira to kick him in the face and knock him out. So they make off, and we basically find out that the Orleans Knights, this group of knights working under Jean d'Arc, which must be a throwback to Joan of Arc, because there are some religious implications in this whole war that we see battling. You know, we're calling back on that battlefield once again. We see Jean d'Arc, and she recognizes the dragon Bahamut, seemingly having been bested temporarily, maybe, by golems. They have giant golems that came out of walls of rock and stone and everything, just bad ass. But she is actually looking for this one-wigged demon girl, and Kaiser, who seems to be, it's implied that he comes from nobility and was a knight himself, was somehow disgraced, or someone like his master or something was put to death, and he blames Favreau for this. So he basically tells these knights, you know, I can't do this for you in the service of you, but I'll bring the bounties to you at some point, that kind of thing. And they kind of cast him off, but we're seeing that basically Favreau has sort of the same idea. He tries to sell Amira out at some point, and it doesn't work too well, because once the knights locate her and everything like that, she transforms and their magics aren't working. She just sort of smiles and says, ooh, it tingles, you know. And Favreau's horse will not have any of it. Apparently there's a rapport between them. Must be another god incarnate or something like that, because essentially the horse leads, you know, Favreau back to her and saves her and all this stuff. And it's intriguing, of course, because as we see, one of the knights seems to be holding a duplicate of the very jewel that Amira wears. So is this somebody who is related to her? Is it, you know, her father or something like that? along those lines, the husband of the woman she knows as her mother, is her mother even a real thing? You know, that kind of stuff. And this god key, whatever it is, it seems like both the heavenly gods and the demonic gods are very much obsessed with, you know, where this girl has gone with it, what she's going to do with it, and it may be integral into bringing back this giant dragon Bahamut. So, of course, by the end we have the bounties placed on Favreau and Amirda respectively. Kaiser feels that he's going to have to save, air quotes, this girl, thinking she's innocent, she's caught in the line of fire, and it's all down to Favreau. And it's just hella interesting where we left it by the end. And so yeah, loved this episode. Can't wait to see where we go from here. Love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of it if you've seen it. And otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you later. Peace.